Relationship advice. Update. My female 27 best friend, female 27, says my fiancé, male 28, admitted feelings for her. He denies it. Original post. So I've been with my fiancé since I was 17, 10 years together. And I've been best friends with my friend since we were 8. Generally, they have gotten on fine throughout that time, until a few years ago when my friend picked me up after a few drinks one night. I hadn't known she was buzzed, and we got in a wreck. We were both fine, but he thinks she's irresponsible, so he's been just very formal polite to her since then. When she comes to visit me, he goes into the other room to play video games or something. Anyways, about 2 weeks ago, she texted me and asked me to get lunch with her. Places are open in our area. I met up for her, and she tells me that my fiancé told her that he had feelings for her, and wanted them to be together, but she told him no. I was obviously upset, and asked when this happened, where, did he message her, can I see the message, etc. She immediately got really angry with me, accusing me of not believing her when we've been friends for so long. I asked that she at least tell me where/when this happened, even if there is no proof. And she refused, saying if after all this time of friendship I won't believe her, then I'm better off being with a dirty cheater, and stormed off before the food even got to the table. I went home to talk to my fiancé about it, really upset of course. He seemed genuinely confused about the accusation, from what I could tell, and asked when she is saying this happens since he's very rarely around her. The only time he ever sees her is if he walks through the living room to get food from the kitchen before going back to his office. And he's never been in the house with her alone. I admitted she wouldn't tell me because she thinks I should just believe her. Brought up that he could have messaged her it, and he immediately handed me his phone and told me to, if looking through it would help, to go ahead. I went through the whole thing and honestly nothing. They're not even friends on any social media. He doesn't have any weird extra texting apps, no contacts that are weird in his phone. He does have her number in his phone, but there's no messages to her or any calls to or from her. He's also been working from home. I do all our shopping/running around, so only one of us has to go out. He has asthma, so he's really not gone out much the last year. We have security cameras at our place, so her dropping by without the system giving my phone an alert that there was a person, is unlikely. So, unless he texted her and immediately deleted it, so she'd have proof, I'd assume, he happened to run into her the 1 or 2 times he's been out in the last year, or he raced out of his office to proclaim his love to her while I was in the bathroom. I have no clue where this could have happened. So I'm inclined to believe him, seeing as we've been together for 10 years, I can't think of when this happened, and she won't tell me anything else. Our mutual friends are divided. Some saying it's suspect she won't tell me anything, but others saying that as her best friend, I should believe her because there's no reason for her to lie, whereas my fiancé would have a reason to if he did it. I don't know what to believe at this point. My friend is still completely shut down on me. I called her trying to talk about it, but she told me not to contact her again unless I believe her, and hung up on me. My fiancé has been completely open about everything. Part of me is wondering if she's lying because she knows he doesn't like her from what happened a few years ago and is trying to break us up. Then part of me is wondering if he really did text her that, and she is telling the truth and being so difficult for no apparent reason. Any advice on how to handle this? Now for the top advice before reading the update. Your best friend either provides proof or you kick her to the curb. Agreed. If I put myself in the best friend's shoes and I wasn't lying, I would approach OP with compassion, be prepared to get yelled at and willing to provide any proof necessary. The way her friend came at her doesn't make sense. To be honest, in theory, there might not exist proof. Like if it was a verbal thing, there's really no way to prove that it happened. In this case, however, you'd expect the friend to be very gentle and to totally understand how unbelievable it sounds. Overall, we have to look at the circumstances here. OP's fiancé had no to little opportunity, and all indications are that he doesn't even like her as a friend really. So it doesn't sound really plausible. Add to that bestie's extravagant behavior, and I'm calling 95% BS. Just my thoughts on this, but if she was telling you the truth, she'd easily give you details. The fact she just got angry right away and insisted you should believe her after her giving you news that would have been a total shock to you is insane. To me, it sounds like she decided to lie, and when you went to question her, she panicked and got mad. If I had to lay a bet, she isn't giving details because it never happened. She probably knows he doesn't leave the house. You'd know if she was there. Texting would leave evidence, which she doesn't have, and she hasn't been in the house or room alone with him for longer than 40 seconds. Honestly, that makes the most sense of this mess. I don't know why she would lie really, whether it's because she had feelings for him I never knew about, or is just mad at him for being mad at her. But I guess the reason why doesn't matter in how I should handle this. If she doesn't have proof, don't believe it. My former best friend did the same thing to me when me and my boyfriend took a break. In this time, she added his social medias and began comforting him. Not me. Anytime I mentioned this made me feel weird. She accused me of calling her a terrible person, going, "OMG, you really think I would go behind your back? That hurts so much. Just trust me." Then she told me he had asked her out on multiple dates, told me he was seeing other women, and that he said he never really liked me. In reality, she told him that I was sleeping around, and she was sending him nudes and asking him to drive her around everywhere. She also had a private story with only him and her ex added where she posted provocative pics. Not me. Ironically, she also posted awful pictures of me to that same story. When me and him got back together, she immediately became resentful and tried to convince me that I should keep an eye on him. During the relationship, she would constantly text me saying, "Do you know where your boyfriend is? It looks like he's at the park," location on social media. Every single time, I was literally with him. I always kinda knew she liked him in some way, but it became more apparent when me and him were happily together. She would constantly try to sabotage and make me doubt myself and him. After the second time it happened of her claiming he was off somewhere else and literally watching his location, he blocked her, and I unadded her as well because of how bad the friendship was. First thing she texted me? Did you tell BF's name to block me?" She never even noticed that I unadded her. Her focus was only on him. That's when he told me what she had done behind my back. He wasn't sure if I had known before or not, and he didn't want to ruin a friendship if me and her still had one. Best thing I ever did was cut her out of my life, and me and him are now close to 3 years together. Considering the timing and your friend's complete lack of evidence, and sudden, "OMG, if you don't believe me I hate you" attitude, it seems like she desires your fiancé, and envies you. Think about your friendship. Have people ever mentioned that she often mimics you? For instance, people used to tell me all the time that my friend had begun acting, dressing, and talking like me. Close friends even called her off-brand, insert my name. Have you noticed any jealous actions? Any minor resentment she may have toward you? Those are all tell signs of a manipulative friend. Also, how did she talk about your fiancé before? Oh god, that sounds awful. I can't say she acts like me or anything. But since the accident, she's brought up him acting weird around her. Mentioning how he always goes to the other room, barely talks to her, etc. When prior to the accident he would go out with us, we'd all watch movies together, or anything else. She eventually picked it up that he was mad at her and has seemed bitter about it since. But I'd thought she let it go since she was still going to be in the wedding and I still spend a lot of time with her. I hadn't put any thought into her possibly having any feelings for him. I thought at most, she was mad at him for being mad at her over the accident. Prior to the accident, she got along well with him, told me she thought he was a good guy. After the accident, she'd mention him being grumpy, blaming her for no reason, not understanding that people make mistakes, etc., since he didn't just forgive her like I did. And now for the update. Well, I woke up the morning after the post and hadn't expected that many responses. I sat and read them all, and it was pretty unanimous that she was lying for some reason, and if she wasn't lying, she was being a crap friend for how she went about this. Some comments also really made me realize how much crap my fiancé has had to go through because of her presence in my life. So, I woke him up and told him I believed him, and apologized for letting this drag on like I did. I took the advice of someone and made a group chat minus the now ex-best friend, and sent them the post and just asked that they read it. Most of them sort of waffled, until one said, had she not known either of us, it would be obvious who is lying, and they all agreed it was too suspect. One of them called me shortly after, asking me to meet up with her to talk, so I did. She is the one closest to ex-best friend other than myself. She basically told me ex-best friend has been complaining about my fiancé for like half a year to her. About how he's still mad, how he must be making me spend less time with her, that I'm going to marry someone that is actively trying to tear us apart as friends. She was able to show me some texts where ex-best friend was saying those sorts of things, and one of her in her maid of honor dress with a text saying, "My dress for the funeral of our friendship." Then leading up to now, where friend was asking her if it was true, and she was snapping at her too through texts to stop questioning her, and it doesn't matter if she is lying anyway. Friend said she hadn't reached out to me prior because she thought after the wedding, ex-best friend would realize it wasn't as bad as she thought it was going to be. Then when all this happened, she didn't think that texts were proof enough to show me and nuke our relationship. But the post made her feel bad for not showing me them. So, she gave me some of the screenshots, and I went to ex-best friend's apartment myself to talk to her. She let me in, and I asked her if she had anything to tell me before we went any further. She doubled down that she refuses to give me details, repeating the same stuff. So, I told her I knew she was lying, and had proof she was. Showed her the screenshots I had, which she accused the other friend of photoshopping to make her look bad. Once I told her I read them in person off a friend's phone, she started going on about how everyone is trying to tear up our friendship after the accident, and how it isn't fair on her. I told her maybe if she'd apologized and tried to make changes in her life instead of insisting for years it's not her fault and then coming up with this lie, maybe none of that would have happened. Told her that even had she been telling the truth, the way she chose to tell me and make this some terrible loyalty test instead of her telling me some of the most devastating news of my life, shows she isn't a good friend to me. I forgave the accident because I cared for her and took it as a mistake, but obviously that care doesn't go both ways. Told her not to contact me again, and that I told the friend group of everything going on, sent them the screenshots, and they can make their own decisions on who they do and don't want to spend time with based on the information they have. But I won't be seeing her again, I will be blocking her on everything, and to not attempt to fix this because it's unforgivable. I still feel mentally and emotionally drained from all this, but there's also a massive weight lifted off my shoulders. As for the wedding, instead of choosing another friend in this group, I asked my fiance's little sister to be my maid of honor, and she's very excited. Fiance is also relieved he doesn't have to deal with ex-best friend anymore, and says he's just happy it's all settled. As for the rest of my friends, the one that showed me the texts, I'm not going to stay in contact with her either, since she hid all this and only showed me out of guilt. The others? I guess I'll see how it goes. Edit. About the friend who told me, maybe in time I can move past it, but right now I can't really look at her. It's not just that she didn't tell me right away. I just feel uncomfortable. I would spend time with the two of them a lot, and to know there was conversations about my fiancé, the wedding, the relationship, and our friendship going between them like that just. Yeah. The maid of honor dress photo, I'm literally next to her in the picture. She knew boyfriend had these feelings so strongly, was my maid of honor, and essentially hated my partner at this point. Then when boyfriend told the whole friend group this situation, and they all came at me about not believing her, and having to explain my side and only half of them listened to me. She was one of the ones that said I should listen to boyfriend. When she knew all the stuff she'd been saying, and essentially confessing to her that it was a lie. She didn't do anything herself, but she watched it all happen until she felt too guilty. And right now, that just hurts and I'm not sure I want her in my life. Now for some top comments. Think about how difficult it must be to be the friend that showed you. I mean, it happens often that doing the right thing can backfire, and it's a tough decision to make to end a friendship. Agreed. She reached out when she realized the issue was much worse than she assumed. Don't shoot the messenger. I totally agree. I actually think she has been a good friend in this scenario, jeopardizing her friendship with the ex-best friend to do the right thing. You should reconsider OP. People are often accused of crap stirring or trying to play two people off against each other if they come to someone and tell them their other fiend is witching about them. Ultimately, when she realized it was serious and confronted the ex-boyfriend herself, realizing what had happened with the lie she told you OP. I feel sorry for her in this scenario as she will have now lost two friends just for trying to do the right thing. I get why you feel the way you do. I've been where you are right now. But whatever you do, don't shoot the messenger. Could she have reached out sooner? Yes, of course. But when she realized how serious this situation actually was, she reached out to you. It must have been one of the hardest things she's ever had to do because she knew that her aground would have a very serious impact on two of her friends in their continuing relationship. Ultimately, she showed you where her loyalty lay. With you and with doing the right thing. By all means, take some time and distance to think about things, but don't go cutting people off just yet. You are of course hurt by your ex-best friend and her actions. But try not to take that pain out on other friends. Take some time, hang out with your guy, watch some movies. Then, in a few days, reevaluate where things stand. I made a comment about this a little higher up, but essentially right now I'm just too hurt by it all to really look at her. That she knew the feelings boyfriend was having, knew this happened, and was one of the friends in the text group originally that said I should listen to boyfriend. Right now, I just feel like she didn't tell me until she felt guilty, and that hurts. I'm glad she told me and it helped, She had to do something tough to even tell me, but it hurt. Maybe in time. You're right, I need at least a few days to really take all this in. Why cut off the friend that showed you the messages? I don't think that's fair. If you think about it, this literally had nothing to do with her and it was an issue between you and your best friend, so I could see why she chose to stay out of it until she had no choice but to say something. Yeah, for all OP knows the other friend was just letting her former best friend vent. We all have issues in our friendships and need to let off some steam. Sounds like she didn't realize how bad it was until she saw the post. Now for the last story. My 27 male sister, 33 female, left her fiancé, 32 male, and a boring life, for fun and excitement with her new boyfriend, 28 male, who is the epitome of awful. Now she wants to dump boyfriend and try and convince her ex to take her back. Can I warn him? Can I offer him unsolicited advice? I live at my parents' home. I do so because grad school is expensive and they live 10 minutes from where I was fortunate enough to gain admission. So far, so good. My parents sold their house and moved into this house about 4 years ago. They downsized as they are empty nesters. It was a smart move, but it means my sister Stephanie lives close by. And Stephanie is the author of all her misery. Steph decided sometime in September of last year that she was done with her fiancé, a nice, quiet, inoffensive guy, that has a good job. She wanted sparks, passion and excitement back in her life. Darren is a nice guy, but he's not exciting. Fair enough. So, she blindsided him, dumped him, moved out and into my parents' place. She whined and complained for mere days until she met Mr. Excitement, Mr. E. Mr. E is possibly the worst person I have ever met. He didn't graduate high school, he has no job, no employment history, no goals. He leeches off people, is constantly causing drama, routinely cheats on my sister and is generally a sinister butt wipe. He is constantly hustling, which is a byword for engaged in obvious, petty criminal activity. He is proud that he doesn't work, proud he is uneducated and proud that he's a rude, mean and superficial dimwit. He is that he struggles to read. Since she met him, he's been arrested twice. She's bailed him out, both times. She's lost a boatload of money. Yet, somehow, it took multiple events to make her realize this guy is trash. It didn't set in when my parents changed the locks, so she couldn't accidentally give Mr. E the keys to their place after an incident that got everyone upset. Frankly, none of it is my business, but she's slowly coming to the realization that Mr. E is a scumbag. He's not allowed near my parents' house. They've met him once and won't have him around, so my sister feels the need to confide in me her problems. Her friends have mostly distanced themselves from her while Mr. E is around. He hasn't hit her, but when she was late picking him up, he began freaking out on her. Oh, he also can't drive as he never got a license, but routinely takes my sister's car places, so, she came into my room one night while I was sleeping and got into bed with me, creepy, and asked me what I would say if she got back with her ex, Darren. I may have given her bad advice of, yeah, go do it, because I wanted her out of my room and her away from Mr. E, but she was terrible to Darren, and frankly, it'll just be even more drama. Now she's absolutely 100% convinced this is the best route. Do I owe it to Darren to warn him? Should I stay out of it? I love my sister, but she brought drama into her life. She dated a low-life petty thug to break the monotony of life and in the process nuked every friendship and relationship she's had with people. No one wants her around if Mr. E is around, and she's pretty much down to talking to me, her dog and our mother. Everyone else is so annoyed with her, including our other siblings, that they refuse to talk to her. She's confided in me some pretty shady things, and I worry that the longer she's with him, the more likely it is she'll do permanent damage to her reputation and wind up on the wrong side of the law. Now for the top advice. I'm gonna go against the grain and say warn him. People are quick to warn people about everything except toxic partners for some reason. Would you like it if someone didn't warn you? Accept toxic partners for some reason. The reason is that the people you want to warn often ignore this advice, even after initially agreeing with it, because their feelings outweigh whatever fair warnings or sound arguments you might have. And now you're an enemy to the couple, even the nice person you tried to warn, because you tried to stop that relationship from happening. The nice person shares the fact you warned them with their partner that they love so much. The partner is outraged and demands they turn against you too, and now you're on both their S lists. Tell her you thought about it, and you wonder if it would be a better idea for her to try dating someone new, because she wasn't happy and fulfilled with her ex, and it's not working out with the new guy, But it's not like those are the only two options. Just because the new guy didn't work out, doesn't mean she shouldn't have dumped the old guy. She wasn't happy and fulfilled with the ex, so she should consider trying to find a third option, someone who is stable/safe and who gives her the exciting butterflies feeling. Really, I'd say your sister probably needs to learn to be okay being single, and recommend she not date anyone, but telling her that probably won't do any good. The best you can do is plant the seed in her head to try some new guy to steer her away from her nice ex. Try to make it seem like her idea, like didn't she say she was bored with him, and doesn't she think there's a whole lot of guys out there who might be non-criminals like her ex, but also fun, unlike him, and why not have fun trying out some new guys instead of going back to what she already knows doesn't work? I would honestly stay out of it. Your sister is an adult and has the right to make all of the terrible decisions that she wants. If her ex is dumb enough to take her back, that is 100% on him. I second this. If he's dumb enough to take her back, he'll tell her you warned him and you'll be the bad guy. If he's not dumb enough, then it's not a problem. Your warning only has the potential to backfire. And that's it for this video, guys. If you have thoughts to share, leave a comment below. Don't forget to hit like and subscribe if you like this content. I'll catch you in the next one. Good day, everyone.